Hey guys, welcome back to the Hangar. In the last couple episodes, you've seen us pour the driveway and haul in a bunch of dirt work around that, and then the most recent video was the drywall and paint video, which I subbed all that stuff out. So you may be thinking to yourself, Zach, well, all these other guys are working on your house. What have you been doing? Well, in between playing general contractor and trying to organize everything so that it all falls in line, you know, bang, 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 from driveway to drywall to paint to flooring, I have been covering this wall in cedar. So this has been my kind of side project I've been working on. So let's go back in time to before I started it. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this episode, I am going to go ahead and get started on covering the shop wall from the shop side with cedar fencing that I ended up buying yesterday. Now, drywall is supposed to be arriving today, and drywall should be starting while I'm doing this project. But while I'm sitting here waiting on them to start, and probably while they're working, I'll be working on this. So I got this cedar fencing on sale yesterday. It was a little bit less than $1 a square foot, so I figured it out. And the next cheapest thing I found was, you know, like the reject oak flooring, and it was like $1.30 a square, no, it was like $1.50 a square foot. And I even called some pallet manufacturing people that are local to here, and buying 40-inch pallet slats was still $1.30 a square foot. So this was this seemed like the best deal at the time. I think it's gonna end up looking good. I'm kind of happy that it's gonna be cedar, so I think that's kind of neat. But we'll go ahead and start working on getting this wall covered. Okay, so here is how the shop wall is turning out so far. It is only turning out okay. It looks all right. I'm not super happy with it. I am just fine with it. The problem is I am using the cheapest cost per square foot wood I could find, and it was cedar fencing, and it was a little bit less than $1 a square foot is what it came out to be. Now, the fencing itself is nominally supposed to be 5.5 inches wide, so this way they're supposed to be 5.5 inches. But what they are in reality is they're anywhere from 5.25 to 5.75. So there's, you know, about ½ an inch of variation between the pieces of wood, and so it makes for some, you know, fairly large gaps in a lot of places. I started out just laying it down right on top of each other, and after a couple rows, I realized I was coming into a problem because everything, you know, wasn't stacking up straight. So after the first couple rows on this side, I started measuring, you know, from the floor up and making sure the top of every row was at that same height all the way across, just to make sure that my rows stay level. And like I said, you can see here, there's just some pretty large variation in the width of the wood. You know, for example, this guy's real narrow, and so I got gaps on either side. And some of them are a lot wider than that. But all in all, turning out okay. What I'm considering doing is, after I have it all up, maybe at a later date when I have a lot more free time, is I may rip some of the extra wood down into like 1.5 or 2 inch wide strips, and then come through and overlay, you know, thin strips over all these gaps, kind of like a box fence or a box on box fence, whatever they call that. But that's something that I'll do later. For now, I'm just going to keep moving forward and try and get the rest of this wall covered up. Well, all right, the wall in between the shop and the house is done all the way across. At least the first layer is. If I go back and add those strips over the seams, there's still a lot more to do, but this is a pretty good start here. And then you'll see over here, I also got this whole back wall done in the utility closet. So behind this, it was already insulated from, and you can kind of see a little bit here, I still haven't quite finished the bottom part. I'm trying to get everything that's behind the pressure tank quickly so I can get the pressure tank back in and get our water back up and running. But that was already all insulated behind all that, and that was quite difficult as I notched around all of these 2x4s and stuff that I had hung previously to get used to. You can see like this piece here, you notched around the 2x4 and then also notched over the light switch box. But anyways, I went ahead and insulated this back wall at least all the way past where the pressure tank is going to go. So I'm going to go ahead and try and get this wall covered in cedar and get the pressure tank back installed. The reason why I'm insulating all this stuff is because it's in the shop and there's no mini split here with a heat pump in to keep it warm in the winter. So because this area under the stairs will all be insulated, I'll eventually go and insulate the underside of the stairs, and I'll also insulate, you know, this wall here and this little short wall here. Once all that's insulated, I'll see if I can keep it warm enough with just putting like a 100-watt incandescent bulb in there. That may be enough heat just to keep it above freezing in this room. If not, I have 3 different outlets in here. You know, there's one down there, and then there's these 2 up here that I can plug a space heater into if I need to make sure I keep it above freezing, or if we know we're gonna have a really cold snap come through. Well, alright, I got the 2 back walls completely finished, and let me tell you, they were very difficult working around all the stuff that was in place. But I finished up this whole back wall here this morning, and I have moved on to the ceiling. I just wanted to show you how I was kind of putting it in and laying in insulation as I go. So here's gonna be how it looks, and it'll be insulated on the ceiling. I'm gonna have to work around the light fixture a little bit, but it'll go all the way down over to here. I already hung this part of the roof because I have to leave that hole exposed. That hole is how I remove the cover on my circuit breaker panel that's just on the other side of the stairs, and then they'll come down here and I will face this wall and insulate this wall and also insulate this front wall once I figure out my whole door situation, which I haven't done any work looking into. Alright, here is what it looks like all put back together. So you can see the underside of the stairs has been covered in cedar all the way down to here. We have this kind of right angle kick out so I can access the circuit breaker panel in here. So this is the one portion that is not insulated, that is just the toe plate for the stairs. But then we come down here, and this little short wall has been insulated and sheathed, and all of the pressure tank and everything has been back installed. So all of the utilities are back in place, and this is what the inside of the closet will look like. So it is completely done, with the exception of insulating this front wall and skinning it in cedar after I get a door hung. I can also show you that I have, you know, covered in cedar in back here underneath this lower part of the stairs, and that back wall is as well. And I'm doing that because I'm going to use that area under the stairs as storage. Maybe someday, once plywood's not so expensive, I'll actually go through and make some, you know, dividers with some bins, so you can maybe have a bunch of like 4-inch by 4-inch bins that roll through. It'll be a great place to store short lengths of steel or anything like that, because the stairs are 4 foot wide. So I have 4 foot of storage space there underneath the stairs, which turned out pretty great. And then here as well, you can see that I finished putting cedar all along this back wall along the staircase. In order to do that, I had to move all of the electrical fixtures that the original electrician installed. He didn't give me enough spare cable in order to move the plug set here, so I ended up having to make a jumper between this plug and this plug in order to continue the circuit, so I had to add an extra plug in, and I don't have a face plate for that yet. I will get one next time I go to the store, but I moved the welder outlet plug, added a new plug. That is a light switch that I wired in myself in order to control the upstairs lights. So you can hit that right there, and those are the lights, the LED lights in the upstairs. And then I moved the 30 amp outlet for the travel trailer. So that's what's giving the travel trailer power. But that is it. That is as much Cedar as I'm gonna get to in the foreseeable future. So it is completely done on this wall and then wraps around this way. I did get the French door hung in between the house and the shop when the painters were taking a day off, so I came in and I hung that. So I say that I probably need to get some cedar and trim around that door, but that will essentially be it. Well, alright guys, that is going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. These little finishing touches are really starting to make the house come together. But that's it. That's it for this video, so stay tuned and I'll catch you on the next episode.